We're back to the PowerFall Project. We got
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Nick Powers, and I'm Adam Fallert. So glad that you're spending your time with us.
It's a wacky time.
What are we doing? Anyway, last week, dude, what'd you feel about your top 5 role models?
Top 5 role models. It was definitely, I was reflecting about how they've evolved over the time. We've been just keeping track of role models in general. My list has definitely changed every 2 years, and that just each role model kind of ties you back to a certain point in your life. So it's kind of interesting doing some reminiscing.
Very true. Very true. And they all seem, and now all of our role models, correct me if I'm wrong, were all men, correct?
Yes, and that is something I thought about too. And it's not that I don't have any issues with women. It's just when I think about the camaraderie, I'm not sure if there's something. I listen to a lot of females. I have a lot of female role models that are on the list that just didn't, make my top 5. Per se.
Absolutely. And the way that I look at it too is like we had either men that are, I mean, it's okay to have a male role model if you're a man, and that they are either leaders of men or a really cool guy you want to hang out with and be like. So
that's just it. Yeah, there's a bunch of cool girls doing cool girl shit, or even doing cool guy stuff, and I like them. I follow them, on Instagram, a whole deal, whatever, but it just didn't make my mentor list, my role model list,
Yeah, man, for sure. Well, how you been, dude? It's been a week.
Life's been good. We had a fun week. We had a visitor in town last week. A good friend of ours that we made friends with her when I was coaching fitness. Mm-hmm. She comes down here from time to time and stays with us. And she, much like you guys, she kind of moves at our pace in the sense that she does like to go out. She does like to eat and go out to restaurants, go out to the casinos. But boy, around 9:15, we all start checking our watch and we're like, yep, it's probably about time to start packing it in.
Yep.
And I love that because then we just come back and have a mellow night at the house. It's not, there's some friends that come into town, not you guys, but some friends that come into town that just, we needed like a recovery week after that, when they come into town, and it's just like a bender.
Yeah, because you're out till 1 and then you come back and you got to decompress for a couple hours. And then by the time you know it, it's 3 before you're in bed.
Hopped up on Red Bull vodka. That is one of the things that we really was on our priority list when we moved to Vegas. Is we knew that everybody comes here. A lot of our friends come here multiple times a year, so it was a good chance to see people, connect with them. And even during COVID, it hasn't really disappointed. We've had a few months that were down, but we've had a lot of visitors.
Good, man. That's fun. That's fun as long as you're, staying safe.
Stay safe. Yes. Take your Ubers.
That's right.
What are you sipping on right now?
Oh, what do I got? I got a Trader Joe's single malt. This one's been in a rum cask, so I don't know. It has a little bit of a sweet finish.
Beautiful.
It's good.
I'm sipping on 2. I'm gonna admit it. It's 2 Stellas. I put them in my big gulp jar here because Stellas, they're kind of the undersized bottle. They're a couple ounces short of a regular one.
Right, and if some is good, more is better.
Well, yeah, these podcasts, are an hour long, and I can.
It's how you endure listening to me. I get it.
So I'm a little bit of a. It loosens me up,
That's good.
I'm a little bit of a brand horse. So I got my branded mug, and I'm wearing my branded Fighter and the Kid t-shirt. My favorite podcast, one of the podcasts that got me through a lonely, dark time in my life. I'm repping them right now. This shirt's probably about 5 years old now, but one of my favorite shirts.
Nice, dude. I'm repping a brand myself. It is my beautiful vintage Seahawks shirt.
Oh yeah. It is football season. Yeah. At the time of recording this, it's week 1. How are you doing on the fantasy football there, Mr. Adam?
Oh, I knew you were gonna bring that up. So I lost about 5 minutes before we pressed record by about 2 points. To my buddy Ryan, and he couldn't be a nicer guy, and I hate him right now.
What's Ryan's team name?
Oh yeah, well it's a play on Back to the Future. It's 1.21 JJ Watts.
I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
definitely one of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. It was on TV this weekend.
Oh my God. Yeah, definitely a movie you sit down and watch no matter when it's on.
Yeah,
I
for
had a chance
sure.
to meet Michael J. Fox last year.
Get out of here! No, you didn't.
It was a blessing and kind of a sad time as well, because he's in a
Oh right.
rough shape, still super optimistic, one of the nicest people I've ever met, but he had to have certain people around him to kind of protect his
Sure.
energy. And so I had a chance to photograph him and a handful of
Oh,
select people,
get out of
but it
here!
was very regimented. They're like, he's going to come in, he's going to sit down, no one's going to be in the room. It was pretty structured. It's almost like a presidential type thing. There was like a couple guards, a couple people that were just in charge of handling the guests. And it was
Yeah.
a cool experience. I wish I had a chance to chat with him more than just a quick, hey, thank you for everything, and take a couple pictures and get out of there. But it was a fun gig
Wow, that is cool. That's a chance of a lifetime. That's pretty awesome, man.
at the Fairmont there in downtown Seattle.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
How was your weekend? What'd you do?
Yeah, the weekend was good. Let's see here. We had some friends in town, or I guess they're some friends that live in LA and came over, and we made some dinner and looked at my motorcycle a little bit. I believe I'm pulling the trigger and getting rid of it and getting something else. It should be a little bit
Oh,
more. Yeah, I mean, I got it's a huge Kawasaki Concourse, which is an enormous sports touring bike, but it's a blast to ride, but it's just enormous for downtown LA. And I'm thinking about trading it in and getting something a little like like in our dream garage, like a Ducati Hypermotard, or a smaller naked bike of the like. So one of my buddies was kind of helping, looking at it, and he's got a buddy that owns a bike shop in Santa Monica, and so we were talking about that a little bit. And then we walked around a little bit, and LA has been. It wasn't quite a phase opening for this whole COVID thing, but they allowed some more things to be open. So the wife and I went for a kind of a sunset walk, and it was pretty wild actually. A lot of people out and about, just kind of celebrating on a Saturday night, being able to be around people and shops opening and barber shops opening and tattoo parlors and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of
cool.
a fun, eclectic mix of people. But it was also, we realized that we hadn't been out in public in a crowd in a while. And it was just a different energy, if you will.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what was the vibe? Were people anxious, nervous, guarded? What were you feeling?
A lot of masks, a lot of masks on hanging off your chin, a lot of carefree, a lot of young, a lot of lines at the pot stores, a lot of
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, it was very young. And what's crazy is it's where my usual like walking path and kind of jogging path around that area. It was right where a lot of the protests were, and so one of the things that we were looking at is, I was pointing, there was a car that was on fire right there at that corner, and stuff like that. And so it felt like it was a very liberating, like a lot of people were just excited to be out of their houses and out doing stuff, but there wasn't a whole lot going on. It felt kind of like the anticipation of a concert before any of the music starts, like people just kind of like hyped up, ready for something that wasn't gonna come.
I've never
So
liked groups to begin with, and then when this everything started going crazy, I'm all for protesting and whatnot, peaceful protesting, but with all the variables happening right now, I
yeah.
especially don't like crowds. That makes me nervous when I hear about being that close to the activity there.
Yeah, I
And
got
I
it.
hope
I got fed up a little bit. I mean, no, excuse me. I got kind of pumped up a little bit because I
sure.
kind of I like that energy. People are out laughing and goofing and excited, and I think it was a little bit for Diana at the time. So we went and ended up going through some of the neighborhoods, and we got some beautiful neighborhoods around where we
Sure,
are, where we
sure.
see cool houses and stuff, and so nice. Nice little walk on a Saturday in LA, man, with the sunset. It was cool.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
So, I mean, speaking of sunset, that kind of tees up what our topic is. And sadly, summer is has or is coming to an end, depending on where you live.
It's about
And
there. Yeah.
dude, I mean, and it, I'm feeling like 2020 kind of, is first of all, it's robbing us of anything normal, but it robbed us of our summer, and you can have kind of a crummy spring. You can have kind of a crummy fall. You can have bad weather here and there, but like, don't mess with my summer, right?
Yeah. We were talking about this. It's not so much we want a refund of our summer, but we want to I just want to hit fast forward and get on to summer 2021. Really.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back and tease or taunt the year, and it could be round 2 could be even worse. But yeah, just the fact that there's so many things on the horizon, especially with us moving to Vegas and having all these different options available to us, and then all of a sudden having the carpet yanked out from underneath us there.
Yep.
Yeah, we were talking, our favorite things to do during the summer. So we decided to put together this list. And what was the official title of the list? How did we word it?
I think we just did top 5 summer activities.
Yeah.
And what I like about that, kind of open-ended, you could explain it. It can be as simple as, an activity, or it can be as more complex as something that you have experienced or you like to, continue to experience, that kind of thing.
Sure,
And
sure.
the other thing that's kind of interesting too is obviously we've lived in some different areas, and I've lived at 2 corners of the country, one in Washington State and then one in Florida. And now I live in California. And you were up in Washington. Now you're in Nevada. So I mean, having a discussion about summer, I mean, we kind of have to start there, because summer means different things for your different areas.
It definitely needs some context. Yeah, because
Yeah.
that weighed heavily on my list. There, I'm like, well, what have I always look forward to, because of the fact I grew up in Washington. We only had 2 months that were really, you could kind of count on, but not even really count on.
Yeah.
And so
And
that
that's
influenced my
interesting
list
too.
heavy.
Yeah, and now that we're in warm climates, and I spent so much time in Florida as well, like a lot of the things that are on my summer list are really more fall, winter, spring things in Florida, but for the rest of the country, it's more summer things. So yeah, man. So I got to ask you, how did you come up with your list? How did you get there?
I took into consideration just what brings me joy, and what and yeah, just what brings me joy and what I look forward to. Again, my list was heavily swayed by the fact that we grew up in a very limited summer living in Washington State, but now in Nevada we have a little bit longer option. Granted, it does get cold here. That's one of the things that was surprising about Nevada was December, January. I mean, there was definitely times where we were cranking the heat up at night.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely times where it poured down rain, which really caught me off guard. And God, Nevada people are really funny. When it pours down rain for even a day, not 2 days, just even a day, you go to the store and you just start hearing people, getting low, down and depressed, talking about, man, this weather. I'm like, guys, you have no idea. Just wait till you go through 45 days straight of this, then come talk to me.
Yeah, it's like the 1 week in Washington that gets really hot, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's so hot." You're like, "Oh my god, we only get 1 week of it. Just relax."
Oh man. So yeah, I put together a list, and I have a couple alternates on the list too. Just stuff that I like doing. It was a little off the path there. So how did you come up with your list?
Yeah, I that's what it was. I mean, I had to think about locations, and so I broke it down. Some are broad, some are like an activity, and then other ones are like specific moments that I would do things. And now that I got other things I got to add to this. I didn't realize.
I've
So
got an
it's
honorable
gonna,
mention list for sure.
yeah. So this is gonna be good. I don't know if I answered your question. But.
No, we should just dive into this thing, and then if you got an honorable mention, let's drop it.
Okay. But I don't want my honorable mentions to mess up your list. So, okay, how about this? How about you start and you do number 5 for you? Go 5 to 1.
Got it. I'm going to start with the most tool bag, douchebag thing on my list here too, and that's something that again stems from living in Washington State for so many years, and that's just simply outdoor workouts.
Oh yeah,
that's such a tool bag answer, but I'm thinking about all the things we used to look forward to when I lived in Washington State. It was being able to go run outside, being able to go do the gym workouts outside. Because the gym I coached for a number of years, we would take stuff outside. We would make the effort to drag kettlebells and all this weighted equipment that took a lot of manual labor to do it, but we would set it up, and it was some of the funnest times that we've had.
Well, now, did you take your cutoff and tuck it in the back of your pants and go running so you could, show everybody the washboard, or what?
There was only a few seasons where the true washboard was there, because pre-Jane Nick was also a party Nick too, so it was kind of a,
had a little insulation.
Yeah, a little insulation sometimes,
Okay, I like it. All right.
Yeah, so that was outdoor workouts. It was high on our list when we moved to Las Vegas to be able to enjoy the outdoors almost year round. Really, I went running pretty much from the time we got here in November, and I'm loving it. There's definitely some days where it got cold a little bit, but once you get moving, man, you're fine.
Yep.
And I've been really challenging myself lately here in Nevada. It got up to 114 one of the days. I generally don't go running over 100 degrees, because you start seeing spots and you start fading a little bit.
Well, especially when it's as hard as you run too.
I don't run that hard. I'm a decent runner. I just
when you slog like me, you don't see the spots.
Oh man, and our gym has an outdoor turf area too, which is phenomenal. Not a lot of people use it during the middle of summer, so it's a place where I can go out there and swing the sledgehammer, beat some tires down, push some sleds, and
now is it on field turf?
Yes.
Oh, see, that's great. So it's so functional, but gets so hot, right?
Yeah, you can't even do push-ups on it because it gets so hot on the hands. Dude. But it's kind of nice having the whole turf area to yourself, because really no one wants to go out there in the summertime. And my mentality's always been I want to train in the heat. You don't want to just train in ideal, perfect conditions all the time. You got to train for.
Yeah, who wants that?
When shit hits the fan. So outdoor workouts.
Good. I like it, man.
I got it out of the way first there.
It's good because so my honorable mention. Well, no, I won't do that. That doesn't play into it. Never mind.
No, that's all good. That's the beautiful thing about our lists. They're so different sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
most of the time.
The outdoor workout. So what I really liked doing was paddleboarding on like summer evenings. Like maybe I got the workout in. What I was ideal is get a workout in like 5 a.m., go to work, get done, hustle to the lake or whatever, jump on the paddleboard and just rep it out and get a little sun on your back and that kind of thing. But I loved being outdoor and getting some sort of physical activity in. That's awesome, dude.
For sure.
Okay, so number 5 for me, and it's funny because I have it as a kind of a broad thing on my list, but it can be throughout the year, but not in the same vein. Like, so what I have for number 5 for me is live events. And it's kind of cheating, because obviously you can go to a hockey game in the middle of the winter. You can go to basketball, and obviously not in the time of COVID. But live events in the summer, like whether it's a concert, or in St. Pete, they had things like theater in the park where you go watch like Monty Python play in the park, where you bring a picnic, or just live events outdoors. They had the one up at the brewery north of Seattle,
sure,
where they did the movie nights, and I just love those outdoor live events in the summer. Whether they're music festivals or whether just getting together and have a bunch of people experiencing the same thing. I just love that part of summer.
That brings back good memories of Red Hook Brewery. Was one of the first breweries first venues really up in Seattle to start doing outdoor movie nights. They did it years ago, and they played good movies. They didn't play kids movies. They played Tropic Thunder, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I have good memories going there year after year after year. And yeah, when you said that brings back a memory. But man, these get-togethers, that's definitely something we got robbed on. Sure. Year round, we got robbed on this year.
Yep.
I never got too much into like the food festivals by to Seattle. I'm not a huge crowd person, and to wait in line just for something I could probably get in, any other time out of the year.
Oh, dude, let me tell you about food festivals, okay? It is like the greatest thing to get excited about that sucks.
Yeah, well said.
It just never delivers. Okay, so I was in St. Pete, Florida, and they had this curry festival, and I like myself some curry. And
what kind of curry?
Dude. Yeah, so I was
Indian curry, Vietnamese curry. What kind of curry are you thinking?
I love Indian curry. So what's funny is I like British style Indian curry.
You're a brave man. You got an iron stomach, man.
Yeah. Well, I might have to run to the bathroom afterwards, but it still tastes good coming in. So when I lived in St. Pete, in the first couple years that I lived there, I lived really, really close to the water in a small little apartment, but I could walk down. And I remember at the time I might have been seeing somebody, or it was a date or a couple friends or whatever. We were all going to meet up and go to this curry festival that I found out about. I was super excited about, but like you, I I don't hate crowds. I actually don't mind them. I hate standing in line.
Oh, yep.
Whatever it is, I don't care if I'm standing in line at a ride or whatever. I'm like, screw it. I can wait. I'll go sit over here. I'll go do something else. I'll go have a beer at a restaurant and then come back and not have to stand in line. Whatever it is. But I'm at this curry festival and I an idiot like myself didn't eat all day because I'm like, I'm just going to soak up all this curry. I don't want to waste stomach space with this nonsense like breakfast and lunch. I better just starve myself so I can eat this curry. Well, I get a little irritable when I'm hungry. And I remember trying to stand in line and this one was super long. I'm like, screw that. I'll stand in this line. Oh, it's super long. Screw that. Oh, this one's a little bit shorter. Great. But I still end up standing in line for 20 minutes. I finally get up there and I'm like, they're asking me, what do you want? And I'm like, meat.
Anything.
What kind of meat you got? And he's like, oh no, this is I believe
Vegan curry?
It was vegan, and they didn't even have curry. It was another type of food. I want to say either Moroccan or Lebanese, and they were like, it's all vegetables, and we don't have curry. I'm like, I was about ready to fight this dude. I'm like, you're at a curry festival, dude. And I was so like hungry and irritated. I'm like, just load up the plate. I don't give a crap. And I was just upset. So that was the last food festival that I went to.
I can't think of anything more scary than the outhouse line at the curry festival.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What a horrific experience.
I think you just called that Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jacksonville, but yeah. Oh man.
So anyway, live events. Cool. Your turn.
Crazy, man. Well, let's shift gears here. Number 4 on my list of summer activities that I love that I feel we got robbed on is kind of a broad one. It's just being physically around the beach and being in and around the water.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not a strong swimmer, but I love just getting in the ocean, jumping around a little bit. I love, if I have the opportunity to wakeboard or wake surf, that's the best. I take that. I really value that highly. And just the very simple thing of just sitting on the beach, sitting in the sand, looking at the ocean. Our first time to Cabo as a married couple, we went down there and we did all the things. We made this big hoopla to get to the beach. We sat down, and then Jane's like, well, now what? And I'm like, what do you mean now what? And we just sit. Now we just sit and watch the ocean come in for a little while and just do nothing. And I could do that for hours on end. So just being around the water, being in the sun, being in the sand.
So good. It's so good. I'm gonna touch on one that's similar, but yeah, on the water, the sea breeze, just whether it's you're on a wakeboard or a sea-doo or a boat or you're just on the beach, just being next to the water, hearing waves, whatever. So good. It's just one of the best things about summer.
Yeah, the only beach experience we had this summer, or actually this whole year, was with you guys. Really, we went to Cabo with you guys right before the shutdown.
Yeah,
and then we went to the beach with you guys, a couple months ago. So thank you.
Yeah.
Huntington Beach.
Yeah, that was a blast. One of the you and me just playing in the waves. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, that's a blast. I love that. We got a chance to. We rented a boat out of Marina del Rey with some friends a couple weeks ago, which was fun. And then we had my jet ski story a couple weeks ago. But other than that, we haven't really had a whole lot of water sports. But we've snuck down to the beach a couple times, and it always ends up being a little bit more packed than I like. So that's one place I do not like the crowds. Is a beach. I want deserted beach if possible. But yeah, no, it's a good one. I like that.
And I just I put water in there in general because one of the things I do truly miss about Washington State was Lake Chelan.
Oh yeah.
Good Lord, man. Good times up there. Just a quick getaway. Easy to get there in a couple hours. Lots of, lodging available, lots of boat rentals, jet skis, whatever you want to do, really. The beaches are, all man-made beaches, but the water is pristine and cold and it goes forever. You live miles from there.
Dude, okay, so where I grew up, Leavenworth, obviously, is 40 minutes away from Lake Chelan. One of my best summer experiences, and it's not on my list because it just needs a story by itself. But all right, so the year before I went off to college, I kind of wasted the first 2/3 of my summer, just kind of, well, not wasted, but just got goofed off and didn't really work, didn't really do much, was just kind of enjoying the post graduation time. And my really really good friends that I've known since I was 12 years old, my boy Cole, was a waiter, and he worked evenings, nights, bartending, all that kind of stuff. And and around this time where the story starts, I was like, oh crap, I need to make money. I'm going off to college here, and I don't have jack in the bank account. I need to hurry
This
up
was
and
the
get a
summer
job.
that you stripped, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm like,
So
we'll edit
so
that out.
I had to get a job really quick, and the one of the things that was available was, I kid you not, the job was called a night stalker. And
I've
I
done a lot of that in my
truly
life.
right. Your living room furniture looks great from your front lawn. No, I would stock shelves at the local Safeway at night, and my shift was like 11 o'clock at night till 7:30 in the morning, or
Oh yeah,
however.
that's when they blast Metallica in there. That's when
Oh,
they blast the heavy metal. Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, actually had a blast. So my buddy Cole's family ran a dairy distributor, uh, and they knew that I was trying to make as much money as possible, and they asked me if I wanted to help on one of their runs on Friday mornings. And so that shift started at the facility at 4 a.m.
Oh my
and
Lord.
until about 6 p.m. And so I worked, so that August before I went to college, I worked 11 p.m. till 7:30 a.m. most days, so like Monday through Friday. But Friday, so Thursday night, I would work 11 till 3:30, and then I would drive into Wenatchee. I would jump in the milk truck, and I would spend from 4 o'clock till 6 p.m. delivering milk. And it
I
was,
don't know how you didn't fall asleep behind the wheel. That's a long day. But
oh
then again, you're young and you got that college energy, the testosterone's pumping.
yeah, it was absolutely brutal. But so then there the off days of that, I would work from 11 to 7. But then so my buddy Cole would work probably like 5 till like 2 in the morning or so, and then he'd go home and he'd go to sleep, and then I'd come home from my job at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'd sleep till probably 10:30, and then he'd roll over to my house because we lived literally a block away from each other, and he'd like get me out of bed. I'd jump in the car, and we'd roll up to Lake Chelan, and we'd spend the rest of the time sleeping on the beaches at Lake Chelan
Yeah.
till about 3:30 in the afternoon. Then we drive back, kind of wash up, clean ourselves up, and get ready for the day again. I mean, it
If
was
you're
a
if you're gonna lay somewhere, might as well lay in the sun next to a
exactly.
pristine lake and landscape. For the listeners, I mean, Lake Chelan is just one of the most scenic spots in that we have in Washington State. The lake, how long is the lake?
I don't know, but it's one of the deepest. It wraps. Shoot, now I'm totally blanking on all this stuff about Chelan, but it's
Is it 50 miles long?
it's super super long. River fed, obviously, and meltwater fed, so it's not exactly the warmest, but it's one of the warmer lakes in Central Washington, and it's just a riot. I mean, it's just so much fun. Lots of young people out there having fun.
Yep.
On jet skis and boats and goofing off, and so you can always meet people in the neighboring towns that all kind of meet up at Chelan and all that kind of stuff. And
Hit up senior frogs at night.
so, I mean, it was a blast.
You probably weren't 21 at the time there, was it? Senior.
No, no.
So Jane and I spent, that was our mini honeymoon before we went to Cabo San Lucas. Cabo San Lucas was a month after we got married. So we decided to take a weekend and go to Chelan. So we had great memories over there.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's a fun spot, man. So anyway, I totally side note there. Where are we at here? Am I not?
Memories, that's what we're talking about.
Am I doing number 4 now?
That'd be a blast.
What's up?
That was number 4.
Okay, you're number 4. My number 4 now. All right. So one of my favorite parts about summer for me is that busy, but not like is not the annoying busy. The busy of having so many activities, but not necessarily having to plan. You know, like it's the what are you up to this weekend? All right, cool. We're gonna go do this. You know, we're gonna meet up. We're gonna go camping, or we're gonna go to this rooftop bar, or we're gonna go do this. And it was just like you're constantly doing things, and it's okay because it's nice and warm. You don't have to necessarily have it all planned out. Now, obviously, if you have a concert tickets, or if you're going to a thing, you've got camping planned, all that stuff. But just the lack of having to plan yet being full with friends and time and doing stuff like that. So I just love that like carefree freedom, but full of activity stuff that summer brings.
Summer tempo. Yeah, there's always last minute plans that came up. Everyone was down to hang out all the time. There's always something going on.
Yep, for sure.
That was a good one. That was a good generality, but that is something that we didn't experience at all this year.
Exactly.
We got robbed on. That's why we made this list of favorite summer activities.
All right, number 3 for you.
Number 3, all encompassing, pretty much anything on 2 wheels. I miss mountain biking and riding my dirt bike. Now, that's something that we definitely could have done this year because it is kind of a self-quarantining style sport. However, we had grandioso plans to move to Las Vegas and start pumping out all kinds of work and income. Now, we aren't hurting by any means, but at the same time, we didn't have the play money that we were planning on having. So stuff like mountain bikes and stuff like that just kind of had to get put on hold for a little while. So I'm living in a place that is a mecca for mountain biking and dirt bike riding. And I'm just twiddling my thumbs.
I know.
I got robbed this year.
Yeah, not ideal for the 2-wheel sports, especially because I mean they're not super expensive once you have all the stuff. It is expensive to get into it.
Sure.
But there is some kind of like continual cost too. And so like, you know, with YouTube being as busy as you are, you know, just with the content creation and all that kind of stuff, it's hard to carve out that time as well. And to be like, yeah, we're going to just take the whole day. We're going to go do this. It's hard to do. And then, you know, especially getting, and as I know, getting your wife into a sport that you're into can cost a lot of money as well.
That's where we're kind of split. So it's still something we can do together, but I had visioned being able to get up, you know, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning during the summertime, just as the sun's coming up, and going out for, you know, a 1-hour pedal through the desert and come back before the heat kicks in. Yep. And that's not too out of the realm of, you know, being intangible, but, you know, we just had to kind of cut the play budget a little bit this year and allocate it towards, you know, making sure we're, you know, maintaining our buffer, you know. So
yep. Well, and same. That's almost exactly the same reasoning behind my number 3. It's completely different, but it's the same reasoning, and that's number 3 for me. Summer activity is golf. I love golf for the same reasons of just being able to get out, go spend a couple of hours away, and just kind of lose yourself in the sport and self-improvement, and a lot of thinking, a lot of you know, a lot of just kind of you time, or, you know, with a good buddy, a good couple of buddies. Now this goes back to my first initial thought too about where we live and how you summer differently, right? Like if we would live in Wisconsin, clearly golf is a summer activity, but it's not in Florida. Like
Well,
I didn't golf at all in the summer in Florida. I waited till the fall and then the winter. So and in California too. So I mean I've golfed quite a bit, but not necessarily in the summer.
yeah. Well, you and I both. It was definitely an easy decision to move where we did because we
Yep.
can do this stuff darn near year round. Jane's been golfing quite a bit this year,
Yeah.
more than she has in the last 10 years, and she's loving it. She's had to get up as early, for tea time at 6 a.m. and I've never seen the girl hop out of bed that quick in the morning.
Yeah. She's a really good golfer. I can't wait to get my ass kicked by her.
It's there's a couple types of golfers, and I'm the guy that likes to play golf while I drink beer. You
Yeah.
guys, she takes it a little too not too seriously. I move at a different tempo.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And then and I like doing both, right? Like I mean I like going with my buddies where we're just okay, today is going to be a drinking round and goofing off and whatever. And then other times when it's like, all right, I want to get I'm playing for keeps and serious. And I do a golf weekend in Florida where we basically have a golf tournament that's at a really really nice course on a Monday, and we go down there and do kind of a guys weekend all weekend long where we're the bartender's over serving us. I mean, it's all their fault, and we're out on the course doing our thing. We rent a boat for a little while, and like the whole thing kind of builds up to this golf tournament where we take the tournament very seriously, but we spend a lot of time goofing off and playing silly golf the rest of the time. So
Have you had a chance to play any of the iconic Southern California golf courses yet?
yeah, absolutely not. I wish, man. It's a weird time right now.
It is. It is. That's a
All
fun
right.
one. I'll hang with you guys on the mini golf, and that's about where I draw the line. I don't have the time, and I don't want to half-ass it basically to try to hang with you guys, and it'd be a tough one.
Yeah, golf's one of those things where you it's it's part of its marketing is a beautifully done buy yourself better model, and really what you need to do is just take a couple of lessons and then spend some time actually practicing. But it is something where you have to be like, okay, cool, so I really suck at this and I've got to spend a lot of time with some instruction on something that I'm not very good at to start with. I'm good. I don't need to do that. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I know that. I know the process. I respect the process. I've done meticulous stuff like that. I mean, for example, I shot a bow for almost 2 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's all everything's in the details. The breathing, the muscle contraction, the positioning.
Yep.
So I understand the nuances of it, and that's why it's overwhelming when I try to think about. The wife's always trying to egg me on. Why don't you just get into it? You should get into it. It'd make me really happy. And I'm keeping that in the back pocket. Maybe when I turn 50, maybe I'll start
Yeah.
calling.
Yeah. You're like, no, it's cool. It can be your thing.
Yeah, I mean, when she's having a good time though, she goes out with her girlfriends, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's good.
That's
So that's
good.
number 3, solid number 3.
Yeah. 2 for you.
2 for me is definitely high on my wife and I's list of why we moved to Las Vegas. This is something that we, even during the height of a beautiful summer in Seattle, we would leave there and come to Las Vegas just because
Escorts.
there. I was going to say gangbangs, but yeah.
Oh, right.
No, it. Well, actually, this kind of could lead to. But anyways, this activity is just where we like to act like kids a little bit in a safe manner and let loose and just party and enjoy the.
Yeah, dude.
And this is pool parties and the nightlife of Las Vegas. It's a lot of fun. The pool parties are absolutely disgusting.
Yep.
There's who knows.
You don't need to say.
Yeah, well, it's disgusting, but it's something that we do have a lot of fun with, and it gives us a chance to act like kids. And I think in my late 20s, I think I took myself a little too seriously, where I didn't go out as much. I'm not a big nightclub guy, but I was almost too of a Squaresville guy that I didn't want to go out at all. But as long as we plan it and we know what we're doing, we can do it responsibly, get home safe. I have a lot of fun just kind of disconnecting and listening to party music, being around the ambiance, soaking in the sun.
Yeah.
And it's a different energy in the summertime for pool parties and nightlife.
So, okay, I love a pool party. I can't be so for both of your things, a nightlife or night clubbing or whatever you want to call it, nights out, and pool parties. Both things I can't fully enjoy if I am also responsible for getting us there and getting us home
100%.
by me free behind the wheel. Like I
100.
don't I don't want to have to figure out where I've got to park. I don't want to figure out how I'm going to drive home. I don't want to think about any of that kind of stuff. I will not unwind. I won't have a great time. Now,
You're right. There's a damn near zero chance I'm gonna have a good time if
yeah,
that's
now if I'm with good people and it's a safe thing where I don't feel like my wife is gonna get. I mean, she's a beautiful woman. I understand that she gets hit on and things like that. But like, if it's gonna be a completely disrespectful situation, or when if I'm not at ease or having a good time, and usually that's if I have to drive and I have to figure out how we're getting home and all that kind of stuff. I can't be totally unwound. And and so in both things, like if I'm in a nightclub, I'm like, dude, that's the second time this guy's hit my elbow. Really? That's the third time the dude stepped on my shoe. Like I'm not having a good time.
we're on the same page 100%. If I'm at any point where there's something that's holding me back from just being relaxed, eh, every little thing bugs me.
Yeah,
Everything, the line
yeah. And
bathroom, the
and maybe I'm just becoming an ornery old man, but at the same time, like if it's like the four of us and we're cabbing it or Ubering it or whatever, and I've had a few adult beverages, I'm having a blast, dude. And you're absolutely right. It's such a good time to just let it all hang out and have a blast. Except for your floating speedo at the pool parties.
well, I mean, that's fun for some people, not everybody. The
No, that's a good one. I like it.
it is fun staying down there too. If you're going to a nightclub and you know that all you got to do is take a short Uber ride or even just walk back up to the elevator to get home.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's an easy way to disconnect here in Vegas, and that's something that was surprising to me. Even though we live 20 minutes from the Strip, when we go down there and stay for a little staycation, it's something we have no problem disconnecting within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It feels like
Seems hard. It seems like it's going to be hard to do with masks and socially distancing.
I will tell you, we've gone to two pool parties this year, like normally ones that are really big. And it was obviously a drastically different experience. We went to Daylight Club at Mandalay Bay.
Mm.
Normally, last time we were there, it was elbow to elbow. Even standing in the pool, it was elbow to elbow. I remember the water was like a weird gray color, which
Oh, yeah, that's hot.
it was just absolutely disgusting. It was one of the best times of our life. Jane and I just partying as adults, as married couples, just having fun,
That's
letting loose a
awesome.
little bit, because it was a time where we were staying real nearby. We had all of our rides covered. We were partying responsibly. And then we went back there this year, about a month and a half ago, and it was a totally different. It was a completely equally as fun experience, because instead of being elbow to elbow, there was probably 30 people in the entire pool area.
Yeah.
And so rather than gray, disgusting water, it was the cleanest, purest water. Jane was in there swimming laps at a pool party.
Nice.
You didn't have to
Nice.
wear a mask as long as you were quote unquote actively swimming, meaning that you even had your ankle dipped in the water.
Right. Right. Yeah. Some of these rules, and you weren't hearing crickets either. It sounded like there was a good group and probably music playing, and it was fun.
It was a good vibe. Yeah, it was a good time.
That's cool.
Pool
I like it,
parties
man.
for me, just kind of nightlife and just the energy of the summertime.
Okay, so your number two is a different version of exactly my number two. Okay. So, and I just said number two. So number two, again,
Too.
the deuce for me is, so in Florida, in St. Pete, we had the Sandbar. Okay. And the Sandbar was this spot where you could take all your boats, like all the people in the area, take their boats from in the Tampa Bay area, and you collect at this sandbar, and you kind of you back your boat in and you line it up, and there'd be us and six of our friends' boats and lined up to like a string of, at sometimes 50 boats and at other times 250 boats, depending on the weekend, whether it was 4th of July weekend or Labor Day weekend. Just any old Sunday, there'd be at least 50 boats there. But you would line these boats up and it would go from, say, chest deep water to ankle deep water.
Right.
And you'd set up games where you'd have the little frisbee flip game. They even had a floating barge that would have a band on it. And it was just a huge mixer meet and greet. People would bring their dogs. Their dogs would be jumping around, running around. I mean, it was like a redneck regatta. Like it was a thing of beauty. And I mean, there would just be, cool people day drinking. You'd have, beautiful women in bikinis, and you'd have all this just fun, everybody having a good time, getting along, just a absolute blast. And then, so I was also part of this group that had a package deal with the Tampa Bay Rays, and this was right in St. Pete, and we had a suite. It was a sweet deal where we had, like, say, a 10 game package in a suite where we would be like right up on first base line in a good sized suite. And so the way that we would do is we would go out to the Sandbar at like 10 a.m. You got your sub sandwiches and all that kind of stuff. And you're just hanging out all day long. And in the summertime in Florida, you'd see the clouds roll in, and then that was time to go because you're
Yeah,
going to get that afternoon thunderstorm and all the rain. So you would hustle in before that came. You see like a calling card, so it's coming. You're like, all right, it's time to go. Then you'd hustle back, get changed, get showered, whatever, throw on your Rays gear, and then somebody would be a designated driver, or you just Uber. And I was like 7 minutes away from the stadium. You jump in that, and you'd get to the stadium a couple hours early, and the suite would be open. It would be all you could eat, all you can drink, and it would be probably 20 people in the suite. And so you went from a Sandbar at 10 a.m. to and like partying all day long at this beautiful hot Sandbar, getting cleaned up, and then going to a baseball game where it's all you can eat, all you can drink. You don't have to spend $75 for a hot dog and a beer, and just having a blast. And so we would play a gambling game called Mound Ball, and usually the winner would come away with probably like $75 or whatever. And so we would walk down to the local bar and do our best to spend their winnings.
So that pivot from day drinking to night drinking is something, as I get older, I can't do. I got to pick one or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm day drinking at a pool party, I'm gonna take a 2-hour nap, and there's very good chance I might not get back up.
Yeah, you can't do the nap, and it's gotta be a light beer
Yeah, day drinking, you gotta
or the seltzers.
liquor during the daytime, you're done.
Yeah.
At least I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to almost drink it like hydration, and mix it in with water, because I mean you just something cold to sip on all day. Otherwise you're toast.
That's why I hang with my trusty Coors Light.
That's right, dude. And Coors Light was my jam during that time too.
Have you ever been to the Diamond Club, Safeco Field, Seattle?
No, I have not.
I got in there one time. Got in there twice actually. First time was a rough experience because I was trying to get my value. I was trying to get the full value out of it. Unlimited drinks and food.
Right.
I don't remember where we sat, what we did. It was a rough day.
I don't remember.
The Sandbar, that's a fun picture that you painted. That's one thing you're really good at, is painting a beautiful story there. And that brought me back. I had 2 Sandbar stories. I was trying to think of which one to share with you. I think I'm going to share the one where I had my very first beer.
Oh, okay. I remember my first beer.
Yeah, my Sandbar story was I think it was in between the junior and senior year of high school. We were good friends with the seniors at the time. They threw a big graduation party at a Sandbar out in Marysville, Washington.
Oh yeah, okay.
And we had to take a boat out to the Sandbar. We set up tents. It was kind of the first big boy party I kind of went to, really. Bonfire, co-ed, kind of a fun party. I was kind of a nerdicus. I didn't know what I was doing. I actually brought a tent because they told me to bring a tent, bring a sleeping bag. I remember setting up my tent and just kind of hanging out, and someone offered me a beer. I had my very first Budweiser. It was a classic Budweiser, not a Bud Light. Bud
Heavy.
Yeah, Bud Heavy out of a can. I probably had a few more of those. All I remember is I woke up the next morning. I had like a 6-person tent that I brought with me, because that's the only tent I really had. The winds were so strong that morning. I woke up, the tent was wrapped around me like a piece of stubborn cellophane, or a piece of stubborn, saran wrap, because the wind was blowing absolutely sideways. I was literally the only thing anchoring it to the ground. It was damn near impossible to get out, because every time I tried to stand up and move around, the thing would just wrap around you like cellophane stuck to your finger, your hand. I had to wait for a boat to come get me. Half the people that were there unexplainably were able to get off the Sandbar. I wasn't. And
right.
Man,
brutal.
That's my Sandbar story. I've got more glamorous Sandbar stories, but that's the one we're going to get today. But that was a fun time. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
That one's good. I like it.
Oh man, dude, that brings us to number 1.
Yeah, dude, here we go.
Summer activities inspired by stuff that we feel like we got gypped on this year.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, my number 1 isn't something that really we got gypped on this year. We just didn't physically get around to doing a whole lot of it. And that is kind of the all-encompassing hiking, camping, and cabin trips.
Yeah.
I'm not a cold guy. I don't like the cold. I don't mess with the snow. If I do, it's got to be very certain circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But I love a good summer cabin trip or a good summer camping trip. And I was debating on what number to share this with, but my 2-wheel motorcycle story, which was number 3 on my list of outdoor activities, summertime activities, ties into one of my favorite camping trips. Was about 2010, I want to say. A bunch of buddies and I drove about an hour outside of Chelan, took our dirt bikes, and we strapped sleeping bags to our dirt bikes. We wore backpacks. We had all of our camping gear strapped to our bikes in the most MacGyver fashion.
Oh, yeah.
So we drove about an hour outside of Chelan, and then we rode another 2 hours up into this secluded mountain lake, set up camp, and it was probably one of the best times of my life. It was a beautiful scene, good bros. I just love getting out in the wilderness. There's something about being in the woods with your dudes and hanging and partying. So that could be camping, it could be a cabin trip, or even a day hike, or even what I talked with you about briefly was the want and the desire to go, on like a 2-day hike where we go hike out, camp for a little bit.
Yes.
Not so much in like a designated camping spot, because I'm kind of burned out on regular camping sites. I want to go out and, have to physically find a good spot to camp, find somewhere where we can store our food, find somewhere where we can, make a fire and just kick back and do our thing,
We have to do that. That is going to be a blast. When we do that, that's going to be awesome.
Can you tell I've been watching a little bit too much Bear Grylls?
Oh yeah, man. Well,
nope, that was a trick.
I'm going to watch
Les Stroud.
Clearly, obviously not Bear Grylls. I was just going to say that
he's sleeping in hotels.
I need some Survivor Man in my life. No,
yes.
Dude, that is a great one. That is so good. I mean, it's funny because I texted a couple of buddies before recording this today, and I was just like, "What are your 5 favorites?" And all of them sent me camping and hiking were in the top 5. So it was a tough one for me because it actually did not make my top 5 because for me. And well, my wife loves hiking. It is truly an all year kind of thing. And now, granted, we're not getting ice poles and going out in the winter, but we do hike a lot, and so it is. I truly love hiking, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a summertime thing for me. But your answer is, I love that. I miss camping. One of my buddies sent me a picture of, I was like, well, hey, how was your weekend? And he sent me a picture of like the shot of inside his tent, and it's like his feet, and then out on the lake with the mountain behind it. And it was just gorgeous. And he's like, I was just on a couple-day epic hiking, camping, and hunting trip. Now, I'm not a big hunter. I admire it, and I think it's awesome. I need to probably do it once. But I was just so incredibly jealous of that. I mean, it was just incredible. And so,
one of those guys that makes you feel guilty about your weekend. Oh, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I went hiking 30 miles, shot a deer, got,
yeah.
100 pounds of meat, and,
Hmm.
can feed my family for the next 6 months and
Yeah.
enjoy the wilderness. And then like, what'd you do this weekend? Well, I binge watched, House of Cards and
Got through half a season. It was
ate a
tough,
gallon
but
of
I
ice
made
cream.
it. But
It's
I
one of those
made
guys,
it.
one of those guys that makes you feel bad about your weekend. You're like, shit, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, but the Ben and Jerry's was good.
Dude. So, I just scribbled this note down. I was looking at this list and all this stuff and not only just this list, but lists that we've created in the past couple of weeks here. It really lights a fire under my ass. Is like
Yeah,
a lot. This stuff is not that unobtainable, and
exactly.
the stuff that's on my top 5 list, it's so easy to just kind of put it off as something that we can do anytime, and we can do it tomorrow. We do it next week, but no, damn it, this stuff is so easy to do. We need to start
Yep.
really scheduling this stuff and really holding each other accountable into doing some of this stuff.
Yep. I love it. I love it.
That's one thing COVID did, man, is just light a fire in my ass. There's never been more of a sense of urgency to do stuff, get shit done, take action. And I think
Absolutely.
simple stuff like hiking and camping, we got to just do it.
Yep. Yep. Dude, I like it. I like it. So my number one,
I have no idea what it is. I'm always trying to anticipate your list.
It's funny because it's said differently, but it's very similar to my number 2, and it's kind of a broad term or a broad usage of your day. But I like spending the day in the sun, getting a little bit, for me, fair skin, a little bit sunburnt, having a couple of drinks during the day, being exhausted from, some your water sports, or you're laying out by the beach, or your whatever, and a little bit of day drinking, taking a shower, getting cleaned up, and then having like an incredibly awesome barbecue with really good friends. And it can end with a fire. You can do some s'mores, but like that like evening heat where you can be outside the stars and it's still like warm out. You're not cold. You don't necessarily have to have a sweatshirt, but it's just, I mean, even with a sweatshirt, but whatever. But just that
hang.
summer day hang is just so wonderful. Like, I don't have to go do this later. I don't have to worry about that. I am just in this moment. And whether that is through camping or it's a vacation or whatever that is, where you're flying somewhere to do this, that is summer to me, is having that you got a little sun on you, got a little, maybe had a drink or two, you're tired from the day, you get cleaned up,
blasted a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, and you get cleaned up, you have a good dinner, whether you're making it, your buddy's barbecuing it.
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I went down the wrong path there.
That's the wrong line.
I'm with you though on the evening barbecue. The afternoon, midday barbecue, you guys can go kick rocks. I don't like standing in the sun, barbecuing next to a hot grill. Unless there's a pool, I'm more about the evening barbecue where the sun's going down.
Dude, let's be real. Who is throwing the daytime barbecue? Usually involves like, oh, cool. Now, well, for this barbecue, do I have to wear a polo?
Are your kids there too?
Cool. There's a bouncy house.
I got invited to one Labor Day.
Oh, cool. It's like a 1-year-old's birthday. Yeah. Fun. Well, let's watch a 1-year-old not open presents. No, sorry, that was sarcastic. No, but I mean, just having that evening warmth outside and barbecuing, and the smell of barbecue. You usually smell it like 7 blocks over.
So I've got an honorable mention for you. I'm not sure if you were in Washington State long enough to experience this, but this was something that we look forward to once a year. And that was Seafair.
Oh yeah.
Were you there long enough to experience Seafair?
I was there. I had Seafair as a kid, and then I actually took the, and then just the most recent year before I moved down, we went to Seafair.
One of my older friends growing up, he had a boat. He was veteran, just kind of the Jedi master of, putting together the perfect hang. So he was always the one kind of leading the charge. He knew exactly where to position the boat if you wanted to watch the races. He knew exactly where to position the boat if you wanted to watch the Blue Angels fly. He'd get right underneath them when they're doing their high pass, flyby there. So I have some good memories at Seafair. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that we look forward to. And when you live in Seattle, you're always banking. You're like, all right, Seafair, man, come on, Washington weather, don't screw us here.
Yep.
I've done one or two rainy Seafairs, but overall, it's fun. You tie the boats together. You've got friends and high fiving people, and
Yep.
that was on my honorable mentions. That's a
Oh,
very
Seafair
kind
is
of a
great.
regional specific one.
Yeah, Seafair is great. I mean, Seafair, I mean, it's is similar to the Sandbar, but you've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
you got the Blue Angels and the other planes buzzing over you, and then you've got the hydroplane races and stuff like that. I mean, it's such a fun weekend.
I never
That was a good
figured out
one.
what was up with the beads, but for some reason I kept getting thrown beads.
Well, because you go bottomless.
Ah.
All right, so I got an honorable mention, and this one's just kind of a weird nostalgic thing, but in Florida, in the Tampa Bay area, and obviously they have a hockey team called the Lightning. Like the Tampa Bay area has the most lightning strikes in the United States. And the summer, they instead of we get some good up in the Pacific Northwest. You get some good lightning storms, kind of like late August into September. Sometimes it'll crack down, and sometimes it's dangerous.
They're
Lightning
pretty
fires.
elementary compared to you guys down there in the
But
yeah.
yeah, but I mean, usually they come down and they hit the ground and they're striking, and you can see them from a long distance, and so it's pretty cool. But in Tampa, you have these huge, thick clouds that come over you, like I was describing earlier, like the thunderstorms that come over, those big, pillowy, thick, dark, menacing-looking
And they're
clouds.
kind of shaped up like an hourglass, correct?
Yes,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely. At the
I
bottom
flown
half of an
like that.
hourglass.
So
Yeah, and it just gets super. They look like big and pillowy, and it's awesome. And then they cover the whole sky, and it's such a flat land that feels like they're right on top of you. But the thunder crackles across the top of the cloud cover like spider webs. And it is something else. It's something that I've never experienced before or after, but that time hanging out in the Tampa Bay or on the Gulf, on those beaches, and if you are with a female and you're on the beach during that when that's happening, which you should not do because you can get hit, but if you happen to sneak out or be naive enough to not know that that's what happens, her hair will fro up like
whoa.
of her total length will
Like a little
fro up.
Bill Nye
Like,
the Science Guy.
absolutely. I mean, it is something else. It is absolutely remarkable. So that was an honorable mention, was the lightning across the sky
I dig
in the
that.
Tampa
Yeah.
Bay. Yeah.
Florida's got phenomenal lightning storms. I've been in Montana for some good mountain lightning storms, which are a little bit different feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I flew into Fort Lauderdale one night on a night flight, and it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was lightning strike every 30 seconds. I'm
Yeah.
looking up the left side of the plane, the right side of the plane. I'm like, how are we flying through? I've never prayed so hard in my life, man.
Right.
Dude,
Right.
it scared the living hell out of me.
Yep.
But we landed fine. The veteran pilot,
Savvy vet.
whatever. Yep.
Yeah, man.
What a fun list, man.
Yeah, another one I had obviously was the camping, hiking, and traveling.
Yeah.
Another one was just outdoor bars. Just like it's just so fun, just being outdoors.
Outdoor bars, swim up bar.
Oh yeah,
We got to experience that at your wedding a little bit.
Yeah, man, that was cool.
Good list.
Let's go.
Good
back.
list.
Good list.
This is a fun one to put together. I got a little nostalgic. It brought up some fun memories.
Yeah,
I chatted with the wife a little bit about her top 5, and
Sure.
hers looked way different than mine. So I kept my list exclusively to mine.
Attaboy. Well, and the interesting thing too is that we're starting to get into fall, so there's a couple things that are exciting, right? So that is the anticipation of football. That's one of the things about summer. Like the end of the summer is to start anticipating the football season. That's always good. But yeah, usually end of summer, weather starts getting a little colder. In most cases, kids back to school. It's not that carefree, fun summer stuff.
Well, you know what we're getting into? We're getting into Netflix and chill season. We're getting into movie season, really.
Yeah, is exactly right.
Um, and so that was kind of the inspiration for next week's list,
Yeah.
was being that we're getting into that cozy season, that time where,
Mhm.
now that we're married men, we're romancing our wives
Mhm.
into the movie night. But
What's
we
romance?
got to thinking about movies that had impact in our life growing up. We're not talking about the best movie, the most funniest movie, the favorite movie, the most action packed, or the most gory, scary horror movie, but just, you and I were kicking around the idea of putting together a list of the top 5 movies that had impact in our life of all
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we've throughout, I think every episode of this podcast we've referenced some sort of movie, but I think the important part about next week is going to be the impact that the movies had on our lives, and then having to rate those. And that's
For
not going
sure.
to be an easy task by any means.
So again, I'm curious to hear feedback on what we missed on our summer activities, and I'm also really excited to hear about movies, because I'm not the biggest movie buff, but there is a handful of movies I'm gonna list next week
Yeah.
that I've probably watched 20 times. I mean, trying to get an accurate number, at least 20 times. So next
Yeah.
week, stay tuned.
Yeah,
Top
man.
5 movies that had impact in our life.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, really just, I mean, I don't know about you, but so far doing this exercise with the podcast, I've been really inspired, and it's been incredible. So I just want to say thank you to the people that are listening, that are giving us all the feedback. And
Yeah.
I mean,
At the time,
yeah, I
I
mean,
was
go
going to
ahead.
say real quick to cut in, at the time of this particular podcast recording, we're at almost 100 downloads. Is that right?
Yeah, 100 downloads, got about that many followers on Instagram. This has been overwhelming. I thought we were just going to do this basically for each other and get one additional listener each week, but this has been pretty incredible. So I just want to say thank you to all those that are listening. Hopefully this is worth something telling a friend about and increasing our audience, because this has just been phenomenal for me, and just getting the feedback and the encouragement, and from plenty of texts telling me where we're getting it wrong, and I love that. So keep those coming.
That has been fun. The back and forth banter about, what we missed or what we did right, what we did wrong.
Yeah, because I mean, ultimately, we really enjoy talking at you.
I just like hanging with my dude, and this has been a fun way to get to know you even further.
Yeah.
And again, it's something positive that came out of this pandemic. So if you guys are digging the podcast, please leave us an iTunes review.
Yeah.
And drop us a comment on Instagram. Let us know what we missed, what we need to do. If you have an idea for a list, definitely hit us with it.
Yep. Love it, dude.
Awesome, man. Another one in the books. I was really excited about this week. This was a fun one to get nostalgic on, and get and again, as I said earlier, light a fire in my ass to really start taking action on some of these things on the list, because they're not that hard. And
Yep.
yeah, we're there.
Cool, man. All right, let's do it again.
Awesome, brother. Take care. Love you. Have a good week.
Yeah, man. Take it easy.